My only concern is that we don't see
any of the people.
nobody has signed in just yet. So I don't know if you want to send them an email and let them know we've just sent you.
Yeah. Micah. Laura.
And she even said it in the thing there.
And Kelly.
And then before you send it, can you go back to Safari real quick?
Yeah. This one? And get that.
Yeah, so then copy and paste that link in there, just in case, they didn't get the individual ones.
Oh, there's Micah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Micah. Can you see us?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, I don't have her audio. Wait, hold on. Can you see us?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Awesome. Can you see everyone else or just me?
No, I can only see
you. Okay. Well, I'm going to move around, so at least you can hear us though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think we're still waiting on a couple of other people, but I'm glad you could join us. Yay. Okay. We're actually going to do some introductions. I think everybody is here, but we're still waiting on, let's see here. We're still waiting on a couple of people. Nope. Would they actually appear next to Micah? Okay,
they'll line up at the bottom.
Okay. So let me just see if that worked by sending Laura. Micah, I'm going to send you an email, but you're already on, so don't worry about it. Google Hangout.
Did you happen to get a chance to copy
I
that?
think so. Let me go back. Can I go back? Yeah. Here's the link. Okay.
There you go.
So.
And as they join, or even with Micah, you may want to ask her to mute things on her end and then unmute when she's got a question.
Okay. Micah, when you want to ask a question, just unmute and then mute again. If you want to. All right. So sorry, I'm trying to get all this together. Okay. So let's see.
Just paste it, and I think we're good.
All right.
There you are.
Okay, you guys, we're still waiting on a couple of people. Laura Hicks, and we've got Micah, and we need Kelly Fisher. All right.
Since we don't have audio set up,
Okay.
Try and do most of your talking in this general area.
Okay.
So that she can hear.
Okay. All right.
Accept.
Yes.
Kelly Fisher.
All right. Yes.
Our most recent confirmed student, Martin.
Oh, yes.
Do we know
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
or should I quick try to get him a seat on that flight? Or
Okay.
Is he going down?
Okay.
We just need to get
Is Martin here? You guys, is Martin here? No. Okay.
No. Okay. So, okay.
Hi, Kelly. Hi. Nice to see you. Can you see us okay?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So when you want to talk, just unmute, and then if you don't want to hear all of that's going on, you can mute the audio. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you'll probably want them to mute themselves so that as they're making noise or whatever, it's not bleeding over.
Oh, I see. So if you want to mute yourself, then we don't hear, like if you're rustling around or burping really loud or whatever. I'm just kidding.
Classic.
All right, you guys. Well, I'm glad you guys could join us, and thank you so much, Tom. Grab some pizza. I'm going to walk around so you won't always see me in the screen.
When you're ready to do your PowerPoint.
Okay. When I'm ready to do the PowerPoint, I can screen share everything. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. All right. So I think we can get started, you guys. Like I said, you won't be able to see me, but I'll go ahead and share everything. Let's see. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Where did that share button go?
On the screen?
Yep. Got it. All right. Desktop. Okay. All right, you guys. We have lots of slides, lots of information to go through today. So, here we go. Can you guys hear me all right? I don't really need this, right? Okay. No. All right. So I want to introduce myself again. I'm Melissa Palmer, you guys. I'm heading this trip, and I'm really glad that you guys are all here. That's awesome. It's so beautiful out. I just can't wait to get down to Belize. It's just so gorgeous, you guys. You're gonna love it. Trust me. All right. So I'm Melissa. This is Maggie Walenta, you guys. She works in CFAN's International Programs Office, and she's like my right-hand person when it comes to airline tickets, program contracts, you name it, she's the person. She's the go-to person, you guys. She's really awesome. Maggie's going to be talking to you today about the IDI, which is a diversity index that's going to help you transition from the United States down to this very diverse culture, and just some of the things to think about when you're in country. So you guys are going to be getting an email here pretty soon where you're going to take the IDI. We're going to score you guys before and after the curriculum. And Maggie, again, I know it sounds weird. It's like a little email quiz. It'll take about 20 minutes. But I guarantee it's really going to enlighten you guys on how to think about other cultures. And it just, for me, when I took it, it just totally changed my mindset on diversity and inclusion and how to think about things when you're in country. You guys you'll get more information, and then you'll know a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So we'll talk about the IDI and health and safety. And then I am going to start off first talking about the itinerary, just kind of getting you guys, showing you some pictures. Rachel, pipe in anytime, seriously. This is Rachel Gansky. For those of you guys, I know I just introduced her, but for those of you guys that just came in, she's going to be your TA. She's your main go-to person in San Ignacio at the BWRC. We're going to be split up. We don't even see each other until the very end of the trip because I'm going to be on the coast for basically 2 weeks while she's in San Ignacio. And then we all meet up in the Chicaboo Forest, okay? And so that's when Rachel and I and all the groups will come together, and we will be scoring birds, and yes.
And Rachel is a previous participant, so she also has a lot of insight into the student experience, as she has participated on this program before, teaching child ed. And so she's really going to be your program lead coordinator when you're inland.
Yeah.
And Melissa will be the program leader, obviously, throughout the whole program, but also be guiding you and teaching you on the coast. So.
But we'll literally be 3 hours away. So for a while, for the first couple of weeks, you won't even see the other half of the students. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. Some of you guys have seen this information already, but I want to make sure that that everybody has this information. Today we're going to be going through some introductions. So before we get started, I want everybody to kind of introduce themselves. You guys are going to be in close quarters, so you're going to get to know everybody in your group really, really well. Lots of van rides, lots of late nights. So introductions, itinerary. Maggie's going to be talking about culture and introduction to the IDI. Can you hear me? Group dynamics. I'm going to. Oops.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you guys hear me? Oh,
yeah.
It's an echo.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think I muted me.
I'm sorry. I think I muted me.
Let's see if they can hear me.
Let's see if they can hear me.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to just escape, and
Can
then
you
we're
guys
going to
hear
go
me?
back to Google Hangout.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Can you guys
Okay.
hear me now?
Yeah.
If I mute this,
Oh, she can.
can you guys hear me now?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, she
Yes.
can.
'Cause I
Micah,
can't
can
hear
you hear me?
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Will,
Yes?
stop the noise.
Because I can't hear
but
you
it
anymore.
stops. See, there's some
But
feedback.
it will
And
stop the noise.
Yeah, but it
do you
stops.
think that's
See,
the
there's
feedback?
some feedback.
Oh, okay. Can you guys mute your
Oh, do you think
computer?
that's the feedback?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you guys mute your computer?
Have them get themselves still.
Okay. Perfect.
Oh, this is much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See, I could hear myself as I was talking, so this works out great. Okay. All right.
It's just a little distracting.
Yeah.
now.
Sorry. Okay. Then let's see here. We are going to talk about health and safety, insurance, the CISI that everybody's required to take down with you. Communications, emergency and family communications. We'll talk about that as well. And then important documents that you should already be thinking about. So that includes your passport. We want to make sure that everybody is either, trying to get a passport or has plans to get a passport because we're already within that 6-week mark. Okay, you can get a passport within 2 weeks. But and it's very easy to do. But I would just recommend that you guys start thinking about your passport right now. Your insurance papers you need to have on you at all times. And then for divers, I want you guys to already, especially the new divers, you need to bring your certification, your card, PADI card, or if you are getting your pool certification and going down early, you're going to need to have all that paperwork with you as well. Okay, so these are some really important documents that you should already be thinking about. You good? Okay, so let's do introductions, you guys. What do I have you guys do? We can play several games. You guys are so used to these games, but I'm sure it's fun for me because I actually remember certain students, whether, like I've had students that have no sense of smell, or they just have like a weird, talent. So let's just go through what I'd like you guys to just state your name. We'll just do this simply. Your major, and then something interesting about you. Okay? I'm going to give you a minute. Okay, I'll start with me first. Okay, so I'm Melissa. I don't have a major. I'm a teaching assistant professor in the Department of Animal Science. And one interesting thing about me is that I graduated from high school in Germany. My father was a colonel in the army, and I lived there for 3 years before I graduated from high school. So I studied a lot of art and architecture there. Yes, go ahead.
All right. I'm Martina. I'm a sophomore majoring in animal science, and I use staff to graduate in 6 states.
6 states. Can you name them?
Yeah. I was born in Colorado, and then I moved to Georgia, South Carolina, Massachusetts, Florida, Massachusetts again, and then here.
Nice, nice. Martina.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yes.
All right. I'm Violet. My major is animal science, and I've never been out of country.
Cool. Love that.
My name's Mary. I'm a neuroscience major, and I can lick my nose.
What? Awesome.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Let's see. Well, my name is Maggie, and then I've already said that. And I have 2 boys. They're young, so they keep me busy.
Oh,
It's fun.
they're bilingual too.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
they speak Spanish and English. Well, one doesn't speak at all, but we think he will speak. I'm optimistic, right? Developing his English skills. The other one is almost 3, and certainly it's evident that he's managing both languages pretty well. So
Awesome.
that's good.
You want to go, Rachel?
Sure. I'm Rachel. I'm in the vet school here. I'm a first year, and I'm a dive master, which
That's
you guys
awesome.
probably would have all found out anyways. Fun fact.
Okay, so my name is Bella, and I'm an animal sciences major, and a fun fact about me is that today is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
19.
Nice. Happy birthday. We have birthday pizza for you.
I'm Ashland. I'm majoring in BSc, and I'm also a dancer.
Nice. Cool.
What kind of dance?
Ballet, modern, and jazz.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm Brandon. I'm a senior, majoring in biology, society, environment. And fun fact about me, this will be my last class for graduation.
All right. Congratulations. Yes.
I'm Claudia. I'm a freshman. I'm an animal science major, and when I was 10, I got my black belt in Taekwondo.
Nice.
I'm Alicia. I'm an animal science major, and I tore my ACL last year.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you do that?
Soccer.
Oh, dang.
I'm Maria. I'm an animal science major, and a fun fact is I work at a dog daycare.
Nice. I bet that's a really fun job.
Really
Oh
fun.
my gosh.
I'm Carrie. I'm a freshman majoring in biology, and I'm originally from Michigan.
I'm Eric. I'm a sophomore studying mechanical engineering, and fun fact about me is I've broken 7 bones.
Oh, all at one time?
No.
Okay. Oh, man.
I'm Diana. I'm an animal science major, and fun fact is I'm bilingual.
Nice. So what languages do you speak?
Well, English, of course, Vietnamese, and Cantonese.
Oh, that's cool. Yes.
I'm Andrea. I'm also in animal science, but I'm a double minor in marine biology and wildlife management. And a fun fact about me is I have a pet practice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll bring him
Okay.
sometime.
Andrea also TAs for me in physiology, so yes. Well, welcome you guys. And Micah, do you want to say hi? Let me just see if I can. Okay, this is going to be tricky. All right.
Okay, just click on.
Maybe not
Okay,
so
I'm gonna
tricky.
click on Michael first.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Just click on the Micahs.
Okay, just click on.
Okay, just click on.
Okay, I'm going to click on Micah's first.
My name
Hi,
is
Micah.
Micah Whitecloud.
I
I'm
think
a freshman.
everybody
I'm
can
a
see
bio
you.
Major with an
Just
American
your
Indian
name,
Studies
your
minor.
major, and fun
I've
fact.
traveled the United States dancing powwows.
My name is Micah Whitecloud. I'm a freshman. I'm a bio major with an American Indian Studies minor, and I've traveled the United States dancing powwows.
All right.
Oh, cool. That's really cool. We're going to have to see a sample of that in Belize. Yeah, that's cool.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
I'm going to have you
my name is
read
Kelly,
yours,
and
then
I'm
I'm
an
going to click
environmental
on
science
Kelly.
major with a geology minor, and
Hi,
I'm a
Kelly.
beekeeper.
Hi. A beekeeper. That's so cool.
My name is Kelly, and I'm an environmental science major with a geology minor, and I'm a beekeeper.
A beekeeper.
All right,
That's
well,
so cool. I hate the sound of my voice, so I can hear my own voice on here. All right, well, welcome you guys. Okay. Let's share that again. All right. Well, welcome everybody. I'm glad that you all could make it. We actually have 23 on this trip. So I think there's 4 people that had classes until like 4:30 labs. So I'm not sure. I hope that they can come at least to one of the meetings so that you guys can meet them. All right. So let's kind of talk about where we're going to be, where we're going to fly into. Everyone's actually going to fly into Belize City here. Okay, this red dot. Immediately we're splitting up. So the divers that are getting certified early, going down 5 days early, they'll already be in Placencia. Okay, so they're going to be flying down, and they'll be in Placencia
On May 15th.
on May 15th, right? So the rest of us, we are going to be leaving on May 20th, and half of us, the certified divers, will actually travel down and meet the early divers on May 20th. The rest will go inland to San Ignacio. You'll be going to what's called the Fox Club, and it's a really nice compound right in the heart of Santa Elena, actually, really close to San Ignacio. And you'll be going to the BWRC right away. That's the Belize Wildlife and Referral Clinic. And I think some of you got to meet Justin Ford and Isabel, so they're going to be your instructors at that time. They just moved into a brand new facility. Can't wait to see it. It looks like it's, Yeah, much larger. That's where they house all the animals and flight cages and things like that. So it's going to be amazing. So you guys start off there. I'm going to email you guys or share this PowerPoint presentation to all of you guys. This is kind of what I'm talking about here. So from May 20th to May 25th, Group 1 is actually going, those are the divers, are going to be in Placencia. Group 2, that's our snorkelers, are going to be in San Ignacio. On May 26th, that's when we switch. So I'll remain in Placencia. Rachel will still be in San Ignacio, but we just switch places. And that will go from May 26th through June 1st. Okay? Then on June 2nd, the snorkelers that are in Placencia will now travel up to San Ignacio. We'll all meet in San Ignacio. We'll have one big dinner at Hody's. It's like the place that can really accommodate all 24 of us.
25.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
25 students.
Yeah.
2 ladies.
So it's a big group, but we've, gone to Hody's most of the time. So they know that we have a big group, and they always do a great job at accommodating us.
It's not going to be fast. It's going to be a leisurely dinner, so that'll be a cultural difference as well.
Yes.
Be on a different time frame.
And I think what Rachel and I are going to concentrate on is it's really tough because half of you don't know the other half, right? So when we all come together, it's kind of like we're reacquainting ourselves with everybody else. So I've even had students kind of sit down next to each other and go, I don't remember your name, but so we're going to probably mix you up at dinner because we actually want to do a better job this year of integrating. Last year, the divers were like a really close-knit group, and the snorkelers were a really close-knit group. So they didn't intermingle even when everybody came together. So we're actually going to, develop some activities so that you guys intermingle when we all come back together. That's especially going to be true in Las Cuevas Field Station in Belize. So on June 2nd through June 5th, all of us are going to Las Cuevas. And we've got some great team building exercises in Las Cuevas. So we'll mix you guys all up. We'll have you go in caving. Okay, so when you're going into the caves, you really have, because a lot of places it's super dark, you have to rely on each other to help, climb off of rocks, climb onto rocks. It's we go pretty deep inside, and there's this huge cavern. It's a really cool cave system. So we're going to explore that in Las Cuevas. We also do some hiking exercises. In fact, during these 3 days, you're not going to be able to connect with the internet. So you can pretty much tell your parents, I'm off the grid for about 3 days. You have to carry everything in, so it's a 3-mile hike. The van drops us off, and we hike about 3 miles into the station. But once we get there, it's really amazing. I mean, we're in the heart of the jungle. There's lots of I'm going to show you some pictures of the cool animals that are there. We do night hiking. We have some huge scaffolding that we go to the top of, and you can really see 180 degrees all throughout the Chicaboo Forest, which is really cool. There's researchers there too. So last year we talked to a researcher from the University of Florida. It was in collaboration with the University of Tennessee. They were doing big cat studies. So they had cameras all around, and they had some great pictures of jaguars and ocelots that are in the area. And she spoke to the group, which is great. So we always recruit the researchers that are there to give a talk. Dr. Isabel gives a talk on the scarlet macaws. You guys are going to be able to score those birds and handle them while you're there. And then we leave the Las Cuevas Field Station on June 5th. The entire group goes to Guatemala. And that's where we go to some of the best Mayan ruins. Tikal, Yaxha. Yeah, it is gorgeous. So you get kind of a different perspective from a different culture, Mayan culture in Guatemala. And we go to Flores, which is a really quaint town. It's really beautiful. You guys can go out to dinner. There's discos, so it's kind of a really fun way to end it. And we also visit Arcus when we're in Guatemala, so you actually see their wildlife rescue as well. We come back to San Ignacio on June 10th. We have one night there, and then we all leave on June 11th. 3 weeks seems like a long time. I guarantee it's going to go by so fast. It's really pretty much action-packed. You see the coast, you see the inland, you see the jungle, you see Guatemala. I mean, you're experiencing a lot of things in a short amount of time. So, and diving, snorkeling, I mean, it's really a really great opportunity. We're going to get into more of the itinerary in the next few weeks, especially at Placencia and at the BWRC. So this was actually a presentation that one of my students put together from last May. So all of these pictures have been updated. So you spend a lot of time together driving. This is just some van shots, and you do lots of students sleep in the vans. Or they play games, which is always fun, or they sing very loud. On the way down to Placencia, you guys will also end San Ignacio on the first day. You guys are going to visit the community baboon sanctuary, which is really a misnomer. They don't have baboons, right? Baboons aren't in Central America. These are all howler monkeys that are in the area. And one of the curators or people that run this sanctuary, she walks around and she can call them and provoke, actually. Were you there when she provoked the male to get a little territorial? And then if you've ever heard a howler monkey, the first time I heard it, it literally sounded like a T-Rex. It was about 6 o'clock at night, and it was so loud and unnerving that as soon as you kind of hear it, you'll hear it more and more often, particularly around dusk. They're just trying, this is a territorial thing, they're just trying to make sure that young males stay out of their area. So very interesting. I'll start off with the scuba diving and snorkeling. There's lots and lots of animals that you guys are going to see, mammals, reptiles. Last year we saw a whale shark. It's about 25, it was a juvenile, about 25 feet in length. Can't promise that, but we're going to, when it gets closer to the trip, I'm going to talk to you about 25 to 30 different species of fish. So you guys are going to really get to know how to identify fish before you get in the water. And right before we go, we're going to have a quiz so that you guys can identify triggerfish, parrotfish. And so when we first went down there, I didn't do that. And I had a lot of people, like business majors, that were like, I wish I knew more about the fish before I jumped in the water. So we kind of built this on the front end so that you guys could be really familiar with it when you go down there. Lots of turtles, lots of sharks. You guys are going to see a lot of nurse sharks as well. Then here's some of the things at the BWRC. You guys are going to learn how to immobilize different animals using blow darts. They did a lot of feeding, giving medication. There's a lot of things that you're going to do hands-on that you wouldn't normally be able to do here in the United States. You'll be helping with surgeries. You'll be go to the Green Iguana Sanctuary and help put on like dust mite and medication to help with mites. And yeah, so you guys will be kind of taking care. Dr. Isabel actually started this Green Iguana project because they were not endangered, but this is a species that's thought of as, a lot of native Belizeans may, a long time ago, eat these animals. So she wanted to develop some kind of sanctuary for them, just so that if they were injured or they would have a place to go. Okay, so this is at the San Ignacio Hotel. You guys are going to get to do some horseback riding. And there's a group that was holding a boa constrictor that actually lives there. It doesn't, yeah. I don't think they can.
Because they were going to try it, but then it was a lot of issues.
Yes, yeah. So they gave it some chicks to actually eat, and the chicks grew up. So they kept the chickens, the adult chickens, didn't they?
I think they were euthanized.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So I shouldn't have brought that up. But you do have, an anatomy lab a radiology lab, like a parasitology lab. So you're really diving into a lot of the things you would be doing in a vet clinic. Okay, so you can see how very different these two modules are, but you really get a great sense of all of it. It's very animal-centric. This is the little jaguar that was found in the Chickaboo Forest while we were there. And it was brought to the BWRC in literally a bucket. I think that the researchers, they looked around for its mom, couldn't find it, so they put it in a bucket. They brought it to Isabel and Justin. And the students actually got to help with its care. They helped last year. They helped with dehydration. This animal was really severely dehydrated at the time. When we came back from the placentia, we got to see it. It was in a little cat carrier. Super cute. Look at the little claws here too. So I looked in the cat carrier and it literally went like a cat would, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. So anyway, Chicky, this is his name. They actually named it after where they found it, Chickaboo Forest. Chicky is now at the Belize Zoo. So you guys are going to get to see Chicky when you go to the Belize Zoo, which is awesome. This is the bird rescue that you'll see. This is the Belize Zoo, and you'll see Chicky there. Also, another jaguar called Junior Buddy. And this is interesting. You have the opportunity. They'll sequester Junior Buddy and have you walk into a big cage. And then they'll release him. I would say don't put your fingers there. I know this is like clear, but I'm worried somebody's going to lose a finger. But Junior Buddy jumps on top of the cage. For guys, he can lick the top of your hair. For ladies, I wouldn't recommend that because he might grab your hair. So I don't think that they let the ladies do that. But yeah, it's quite an experience. So you guys are going to be able to do that. That's the Junior Buddy experience. This is the Chickaboo Forest. When we go down and score the scarlet macaws, there's green tree frogs everywhere, which is really cool. We'll do some night hikes so that we can see them. There are a few snakes, so I really recommend you guys, if you can, wear hiking boots and long pants when we're in the Chickaboo going through the forest. Then you guys will be doing some bird netting. They actually do some survey work while we're in the Chickaboo Forest, so you do catch some of these birds in a net. We'll have a bird ID hike as well. And this actually happened last year. I can't guarantee it'll happen again this year, but we were in the Chickaboo Forest when Belize literally went from the dry season to the wet season. So it just started raining profusely. You can see it. This is that's a drop. I mean, we were literally ankle deep in water because it just rained profusely for like 24 hours. And then all of these Mexican burrowing toads came up from the ground. They're huge. I mean, they're like this big. And they mate for like a week, and then they burrow for a year. Okay, so they only come out for about a week or two, and they just, it sounded like a siren, like a bomb siren. It was just all night. I mean, it was crazy how loud it was. I mean, but it was really cool. It was really cool. They made for like 3 days while we were there, and then they burrow and they're gone. So crazy weird, but it was really fun. Here's some of the caving that we did. And this is a really grainy picture, but these are the scarlet macaws that we'll handle in the Chickaboo Forest. So these are the babies. They hardly have any feathers. And when I say babies, they're not like little chicks. They're like big chicks. I mean, you can't pick them up. But you'll just score them to see how they're doing, and you'll get to handle them. We'll show you the flight cage and some of the nest sites. Then there's Mayan ruins all throughout Belize and in Guatemala. This is Arcus. This is our hotel, which faces the water. It's right across the street from the water. Lots of great restaurants and discos and fun places to go. Did you guys went out? Yeah. Yeah. Super fun. I'm old, so I won't be joining you, but I'll hear all the stories the next day. Super fun. But what we did do, this is fun, and I do want to do this again, This is a little island. You know, you just jump in the water, and this is a little island. It's about a 30-minute swim. So for those of you guys that can swim well, we actually swam out to that island last year. And I backstroked it most of the time, but I did make it there and back. And there's a museum out there. There's a lady and her family that her husband, he has long passed away. He was a radio DJ, and she has all the old radio equipment and this huge museum of all these artifacts she's gathered over the years. So even though we didn't have a towel, we were dripping wet, we actually went through the museum and then we jumped back in the water and swam back. So I'm probably going to do that again this year. It was actually really fun. And then these are just pictures of places, this waterfall that we found. Justin took us to, and we jumped in the water and was jumping off the rocks. The blue hole, these are some dolphins. You can tube behind the Fox Club. So in San Ignacio, there's a river, and a lot of students actually tubed along there. This is the boat that we were on when we were diving and snorkeling, and here's the divers here too. So all good, you guys. I'm going to turn it over to Maggie now, and she's going to start off. Are there any questions right now about the itinerary, or if you have any burning questions about some of the things that we're going to be doing? I can address those at the end of the meeting as well. But I'm going to turn it over to Maggie then. She's going to talk about the idea.
No questions so far. No, we're just waiting until the end. Hi to Kelly, Micah, and
I don't know if Laura's on there yet.
Laura. I did see another is a placeholder for another student that could be joining us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, hi you two.
I don't think that you can hear me yet.
No, but I'm here, so I'm gonna I want you to feel included as if you were in the classroom, even though I can't see you and I can't hear you, but I know you're there. That's so creepy or what? So strange. Okay. All right. When you think of culture, what do you think of? What does that mean to you in your day-to-day life? Anyone?
Like how a group of people lives, I guess.
Exactly. And there is vocabulary and definitions to grab from here right in front of you. But I'd like to think of it also as what kind of groups do I belong to that I might have a cultural affinity to, such as on my mom's side, they're French Canadian. So I like to think, I've been to France, I've been to Canada a few times, I like to think that some of my love for desserts and chocolate and things of that nature might come from that aspect of my culture. On my German side, well, I like beer, and so that might be reflective of that. I also think that being in part of the University of Minnesota community also gives me some layers to my cultural identity, and so I'm a proud Gopher alum from graduate school, and I do tend to like going to sporting events. I like singing the anthem. I like the community. I think I aspire to being a lifelong learner. I know that that's a value that the University of Minnesota has that I also hold and share. So these are things that connect me to these various cultures. And I think sometimes if we think about kind of what circles, if you could almost just draw a circle encompassing like what aspects of your identity, if some of you practice a faith, you probably have aspects that, beliefs and values certainly that hold you in common with other members of that culture that you share. So I don't know if this is helpful, but I just thought I would try to provide a few examples outside of these, of just a definition. But I do really like this definition. It's basically, for me, culture is simply the way we have learned how to expect how the world around us works and makes sense. So it's our own sort of blueprint and how we guide ourselves to operate in our world. And the blueprints are different from culture to culture, so it's important to recognize that. And we have a few folks in this group that are in this room or remotely with us or not with us but will be with us in a different orientation that have traveled abroad. Is there anyone here in this room or remotely that has traveled abroad? Okay, so more than the data that I have in my kind of our system, our concourse system shows me. So this is good. I know we're all coming from different experiences, life experience with diversity and traveling abroad, and this can really help all of you really just enrich your learning collectively. So I would invite those of you that have traveled before, that have experience of going through an airport internationally, because it is a little bit, I would add a layer or two of complexity to that process versus just flying domestically, to reach out to your fellow student friend and just make sure they're doing okay, and just being that kind guide and recognizing that we're all learners and teachers, I think, is a really nice way to approach this group learning. So that is culture. Any questions about culture? I think it's also important to realize that cultures aren't just frozen in time. They are changing and evolving. We all are operating in a changing environment that can, cause us to change our beliefs. They're less likely to change, but certainly we don't stay the same, and cultures don't stay the same either.
What's interesting about Belize, you guys, is that there are so many different cultures. So you have Mayans, Hispanics,
Garifuna.
Right. You have Chinese. You have
Mennonites.
Indian. It's very diverse. You guys won't believe how many different cultures make up the country of Belize.
And you're really lucky to go to such a rich place of cultural diversity, because it's really just allowing you to learn more and connect with more people. Not all of Latin America is quite as diverse as Belize, and it's also awesome for those of you that aren't trilingual or bilingual, that you'll be able to have this experience still using English. That is unique. So that'll allow you to connect more deeply as well, which is certainly an advantage.
There's only 350,000 people that live in
It's a very, very small country. I mean, population-wise.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I think this also drives the point of that we are so used to kind of our own blueprint in our culture that kind of defines, such things as what's a common greeting. We go into a room and we might put a hand up, or if you're in rural Minnesota, you might have your hand on the steering wheel and you just put two fingers up or one finger. I've heard in Wisconsin it's typically like this, and Minnesota it's typically like this. I don't know if anybody has any judgments on that. What's the cultural call? What's the cultural norm? But a lot of times we don't, we think, greeting like that is completely appropriate behind the wheel or walking into a room, or maybe a high five. In Latin America, you probably, whether it's men or woman to woman, male to male, you might greet somebody with a kiss on one side of the cheek. I mean, this is very common, so it's very different. I don't think I see that quite as often, in my own cultural circle. So it's more just something I've noticed with either Latin American cultures here in the United States or else abroad and someplace in Latin America. And we aren't aware of that. We think sometimes that when we go, we just operate what we have been taught as we've been growing up, or in our own environments, and we're not even aware that we are in a different culture, or that our culture, or we don't even think of ourselves as maybe having a culture until we are in front of difference. And so I think this illustration is great. How does a fish realize that it's living in water? Well, when it doesn't have oxygen in the same way and is taken out of water. And that can even go as far to say is that being removed from our culture and what's comfortable and familiar can be scary, can give us sort of that similar feeling of kind of shock, and we might feel like this fish, hopefully not. But if you start to feel too much like this fish, like literally, like you don't feel, you might have a physical aspects of stress or emotional or anything like that, please reach out and talk with your program leaders here. They're very approachable, and it might help to know that to a degree this is normal. Typically, we don't see it as often in shorter term programs, but it is normal to have that sort of feeling of, oh, I don't know what to expect, and you might even, people experience it different ways. It's called culture shock, and then you move across into more of adapting yourself to the differences, and they don't seem so scary anymore. But we have a lot of strategies and skills to help you if you are experiencing this.
It's my pre-vet students that usually say, oh, I miss my dog or I miss my cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I can tell that you're just a little homesick. And then we can talk about it. Yeah, definitely. It's totally normal.
Especially if you've never traveled outside of the country, and this is maybe, for some of you, your first time away from your inner circles, your close-knit of family and friends, to all of a sudden not have those familiar people around you can be significantly an adjustment. And I guess I would just encourage you all that if you have concerns or questions aren't feeling quite right, just you yourself, if you can tell you're just not quite on, it might be worth mentioning it to your program leader. The other thing I would pair that with is please do approach it with a great attitude, you know, and realize that this is really a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It really is only 3 weeks. That time goes by. I mean, look at how fast a semester goes by for some of you. You're probably just like, oh my gosh, I'm already graduating. How can that be happening? Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I might be touching on this. Might be just getting too emotional. It's a big deal. We know that.
I always have to remember not to schedule too many activities because I want you guys to be able to experience the culture and actually go out on your own and explore. So yeah.
We're just talking about culture. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
What's your name, Mom?
Joe.
Joe, good to have you here. And if you can sign in, that would be fantastic. Plenty of information to still gather, and we'll bring you up to speed. Melissa will be sending out the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes,
we're here to answer questions on any information covered that you have missed. So this is, again, we kind of touched on this already. I guess I have this tendency to not go according to script all the time. It's just go by, yes. So anyhow, this can be when we experience that stress, as if our own expectations aren't matched in the new environment we're in. And I think we just kind of have to know that this is going to be the case. And that's part of the beauty of this whole experience, is that it really does challenge us to question things that otherwise go unquestioned. Like, for example, I think that my way of talking about culture and international education and going about my profession here in a U.S. context is pretty solid, and I feel really comfortable and maybe even ethnocentric about that. Like, I feel that I've been trained in the best way, that my knowledge is superior. But all of a sudden, I'm in a different country, and I meet with colleagues who also share a similar field of practice that I do. And they approach their work in this way, and they have this body of literature that gives an alternative definition and process and theories around culture. I might be challenged by that, and that will be a good thing for me, because then I emerge as a person who doesn't just have one body of knowledge or one perspective, a mono perspective. I all of a sudden am going from mono to more of a diverse perspective, a comparative view, if you will. So I would just encourage you to think about that. And a lot of you are animal science majors, most of you, not all of you, but you might encounter this a little bit in your broad experience. Be open. Okay. When we think about intercultural competency, I just want to take one step back and just really underscore, why is this all important? Well, if you haven't noticed, our country is a very diverse, and we have, in Minnesota, we have huge communities from Somalia, from Ethiopia, Hmong community. We're the second largest. We have the second largest Hmong community in the nation. Those are just some examples. There's an array of different Latino community groups here. We all call this place home, and it's really important to understand that there's so many differences among people that live here. There's, and I'm just talking about cultural diversity, but of course there's racial diversity. There's sexual orientation. There's able and folks with disabilities. And so we just need to be mindful that it's important for us to be able to honor differences, honor similarities, and be able to go about our life communicating with others and working with others who are different than ourselves. So this is going to help you, and that's why that's important, whether your context, all of us have a global aspect of globalization. We're never disconnected from, we're all connected across the globe. So our actions do literally affect others in other places. If we don't take care of our earth in one country, nation, community, that can have a ripple effect that's felt many miles away. So that's just one example to underscore that your careers could be a diverse local nature, or they could be of a international nature. Either way, I really think that this can benefit you. So hopefully I've given you some things to think about of why developing intercultural competency is important. Have you had any of this in previous courses? Intercultural development inventory, yes, it looks familiar for a few of you. Well, that's fantastic. You get the opportunity to participate in it again and see if maybe you have grown in your intercultural competency since having had exposure to it. So we can think about it as awareness, knowledge, and skill. So, are you aware of your values, assumptions about culture? How cognizant are you of those and versus the other? What is your knowledge of your own culture and cultures across the globe? What is your ability? And this is where we'll talk about this a little bit more. Really, the awareness and the knowledge and the skill all work together for you to really develop your intercultural competency. And when you have skill, you're able to do some exciting things like shifting your cognitive perspective and your behaviors into the culture that you're operating in. Okay, so that leads us to kind of talk about the instruments. So let me just say that you can expect an invitation in your UMN email accounts to take the IDI. I think the Diversity and Inclusion Office said that they would send it as early as tomorrow. So just be on the lookout. Please do not delete. We have paid for this for you to take. And we definitely want you to reap all the benefits from doing that. And you will earn participation points in class by doing that. And just a quick note on that. It is not a graded assessment. It is more like, yes, I will complete this and participate, and now I'll benefit from getting these points. So however you answer, go about whatever your perspective is and your answers are to these questions, you'll gain those points. And also, I think it's important that that's a good lead in and transition into the framework that I would like you to have when you take this, and that is just to be open and answer the questions as you perceive them. Know that the IDI is a continuum. We're shifting in and out of stages, and in a second I'll flip to the slide that kind of shows you the spectrum all the time. And we're doing so based on our experiences. So let's say that, really we can only hope, since we are products of our experiences, those of us who have maybe traveled more or lived in a very, there was one gal, I think Martina, you moved around from place to place a lot. Now Martina's life experience moving from very different places in our country have probably enabled her to grow a bit more in this regard than, myself at your age or another person in this room. So just to be mindful of that. It can help, it's really designed to help us understand our perspectives around differences and commonalities in our own experience. It's certainly a reflection of that. And it will, what the cool thing about this instrument is after you take it, It's not going to give, although it can do this, we're not using it to arrive at an individual score. So like if I were to take it in this class, if I was sitting where you are, I wouldn't see what Maggie Walenta's intercultural competency is at this point. I would see a group aggregate. So we're pulling everyone's profiles in and coming up with where the group has a tendency. How does this group tend to view cultural difference and similarities, and what kind of skills and what kind of strategies can we help this group utilize to further the development of one another? So
yeah, this cultural experience, you guys, is going to change a lot of people. And so this is a measurement to basically look at that change.
exactly.
Yeah, so you will have a completely different perspective, let's say, Belize, before and after the trip. And so we're going to show you your scores before you go down, and then basically after you get the MBI, and go down to Belize and experience the culture, how things will change for us as a group.
Exactly. I think it's going to be really meaningful for you. You'll maybe hear one another make a comment like, "Oh, well, they're all like this," and making broad general stereotypes or broad generalizations. I'm sorry. And then as you become familiar with this, when Carl Lorenz, I think, is going to be the one from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, presents you with the group profile, you're going to be able to help one another when you hear comments like that maybe don't seem as open-minded or reflective of trying to learn and trying to appreciate difference. You can help each other out with that. And I think it's going to help you as a group understand and communicate and have a greater experience together, because there's a lot of diversity in this room too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of aspects, as I mentioned before, of diversity that we just can't ascertain just by looking at one another. So it's
different colleges, you've got freshmen, seniors, and this is a very.
And you know, it's interesting. A point with this, just to drive that home, is that when we look at student evaluations from their study abroad experience, you'd be surprised how often that students comment like, "I really had a challenge. I was really challenged," and sometimes it's spoken from the positive, like this group of students in the Carlson School really helped add another perspective and help my learning, or this group of students from CLU, it was so challenging for me to go through the study abroad experience with them. So, I mean, you can really, it's interesting that no problem being in Thailand and not understanding the language and going to the markets, no problem with that, no problem with having no cultural background in Thailand, easy. But I really had trouble with those CLA students, so it'll surprise you, and everyone has their challenges. Thank you.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
So that, no problem. We get it. What we do, right? It's just like we'll catch up. So these are the stages. I think I just want to give you a preview. We don't want to go into in depth today.
Yeah, we decided not to kind of go through the different parts because I want to get a true baseline from you guys. I don't want you to know too much about it, so that we can see where you're at and then where you progress. But this is the spectrum. This is kind of the scale.
So you see that denial, that is just completely on one side of the spectrum of having a monocultural view. So this could be an example of this would maybe be said corporation in Minnesota has no plans around diversity or just has a Christmas tree in the lobby for people, just really approaches it from like one cultural aspect, has no diversity programming, no recognition of other folks in their life experiences and things that they value, and it's just we're all fine here. We're all the same and we're all fine, and this is the way it is, and just why would we need any of that? So that might be one place. Right. And then just one example of denial. Then we have polarization. Polarization is a layer of complexity, and it is movement along the continuum. In polarization, you could have folks saying, well, I don't know about them. They just all want to eat pizza. That's what they do every day. I don't know why they don't want rice and beans and plantains. Like, clearly that is a more nutritious and better meal to have. it tastes better, and it just frankly is better. So it could be a us, we, you all, us, you. Sometimes I see this in sporting events between Minnesota and Wisconsin. But it can be that kind of mentality. We also can see polarization take place in more of an idealizing way or romanticizing way. So I know when I studied abroad in Scotland, it was a long time ago, when I came back, I just thought that the Scottish culture was just so superior to my U.S. cultural identity that I had, and I wanted everything to be more like Scotland, and I would try to only, do things that were more of a Scottish way. I was starting to cook like that. I was telling other people in my circle, like, oh, we should just go to this pub because it's Scottish. It's way better than anything we have here. It's just things like that. So I was really romanticizing the culture. Minimization, that is actually the stage where most of our student groups start out at, not necessarily where they end at, because even in a 3-week, 4-week program abroad, if the group is willing to challenge each other and really, it's kind of what you make of it. If you're willing to employ some strategies, if you have skilled program leaders helping you with guided reflection, debriefing, unpacking your experiences, you can really move along the spectrum. Minimization, basically, that is the approach of, focusing more on our commonalities across cultures. So we tend to then view everyone the same. And sometimes that's actually a great skill, especially for someone or groups who are moving from denial to polarization. That's more of an evolved way of thinking and a strategy to gain some skills and work with people who are different than us. But the issues with that, or the challenges, the limitations with that really are then by making everyone the same, we're not really honoring people's differences or really sharing that we care about them as individuals and as individual or as different cultures. And acceptance is, I like that welcome to the party. Okay, now we're having fun. Because we're seeing commonalities and we're seeing differences. And we are becoming more adept at that and more comfortable with that. And there's some skill around that. We can talk with people. We know what kind of behaviors. We kind of have some level of ability to interact socially and things like that. It's fun. And then adaptation is really where you have the most skill, where now we're actually shifting. And my husband is really good at this, actually, having lived now in the U.S. for, 6 years now, I think we are. Yeah, on and off. So I've seen him be able to really, if I didn't know better, I mean, I thought, that he was maybe born here. He can
He's
really,
from Costa Rica.
yeah, he has adapted a lot of cultural norms. He watches everything on ESPN, even follows golf. He can talk about any sport. So he has gone from a country that's really into soccer, and that's what they do there, to being able to talk about and understand sports culture as a whole. His language is amazing. He really can make jokes in English. He's really can shift. He knows that he understands how to step into the U.S. like